Okay, day 55 of becoming a SOC Analyst. We're on the Let's Defend platform. Excuse me. We've gotten a high severity alert. SOC 142, multiple HTTP 500 response. So let's have a look at the ticket. So we've got it coming from an external IP address to our SQL server, and it looks like it's SQLI. Looking at that, so let's grab the IP and have a look at the logs and see what we can figure out. Okay. Let's go to log management. Okay, so we've got our 172 IP. Check our date range. The alert was spawned on April 18, 21. So that's everything on this page. Okay. So yeah, SQLI, but the response was 500. Okay. Same abuse, SQLI, but this response was 200, so that's a worry that potentially that command did go through. Raw log there on a high port. UNION SELECT 1, so 500 response on that. Okay. So command.php with the command who am I with the response 200, that's a big warning sign. And what else do we have? Response 500, command ID equals command equals ID, so it looks like they've got a command shell. They're able to issue commands to the endpoint, and here's the worry, they've spawned a reverse shell. So NC to their external IP on the port with a bin sh shell, and 1234, and that was this connection that we saw here. Okay, so it looks like they have been able to use SQLI to get a reverse shell, and we're going to need to investigate the endpoint. So we'll load that, and we'll also look at their IP SQL machine server. So there's the NC process. There's the whoami command, and there is the NC. So it looks like they have successfully spawned a reverse shell and they've ran ID. Okay, so no logs there. Well, while we're on this screen, we'll contain it because we're going to need to do that anyway. We do want to grab their IP, which we can grab from that reverse shell. And we've got abuse IP here. So there's been a lot of reports on this. This was a 2001 alert. So we've got brute force SSH, brute force. So it looks like it is going to be a malicious IP. I mean, we already know it's malicious by the fact that it's spawned a reverse shell. And on virus total there's nothing, but community vote is low. It's geo based in Hong Kong. I mean, I'm confident enough that we could open up the alert. We'll just look at what was our date for the alert? 18th of April. So we've just got those two as well. on this page. Okay, nothing more there. Okay, let's launch our playbook. The device action on the alert was allowed as well. Just more information to confirm. Okay, search the logs, analyze the URL. So the URL they were trying to access on the endpoint is malicious. Has anyone accessed? Yes, it has been accessed. We have contained it. We need to add some artifacts. So we've got the IP. And just in our logs, back to page 1. Where was that reverse shell? Because they're able to spawn the reverse shell and any of the commands via this command or cmd.php. So we want to make sure we flag that in our ticket. Our URL address. Just put command injection rev shell. Okay. Pause the video, I'll write up some notes and I'll be back in 1 second. Okay, I've written my notes up, mapped it to the MITRE technique. We've got exploit public facing application, web shell, command and scripting interpreter, ingress tool transfer, and application layer protocol. Trying to log it in the 5 Ws, the who, external IP 101, targeted internal web server 172, SQLServer, what, attacker performed SQL injection via URL parameter userNumber using UNION SELECT. They wrote a PHP web shell cmd.php to var www/html. The web shell was then used to execute commands and spawn a reverse shell using netcat back to their IP on port 1234. When, we've got the timestamp, the where, proxy log shows HTTP requests targeting internal web server and the internal 172 address. Why, attacker exploited SQL injection vulnerability to gain remote code execution and establish persistence via web shell, then executed a reverse shell to gain interactive access. True positive, confirmed SQL injection exploitation resulting in web shell deployment and reverse shell connection, endpoint isolated and a malicious IP identified. And just going back to our logs, looking at the timestamp of 1 PM, this was the first successful SQL injection that they used, and that's how they got access to the cmd.php. They uploaded that, and then they were able to use that to then generate the reverse shell from, well, this is a proof of concept. They would have tried ID, they got the response, and then they knew they could generate a reverse shell. Where is it here? They could then generate a reverse shell by using NC to their IP, so they'd open up a listener and connect. Okay, so that's the reasoning behind our ticket. We've got our ticket here, we will log that, finish off the playbook, close our alert. We're going to go with true positive, paste in our notes, the same ones as I just wrote out. We've got our 48-day streak going strong, and let's see how we went. So, okay, true positive, correct. Has anyone accessed the IP URL domain, was correct, and analyzed their address as malicious, was correct. So that was a good one. I do a lot of the hack the box CTF stuff, and obviously spawning reverse shells is, you know, pretty much a must on virtually every CTF, and that's a fairly realistic example of how you would do it. So I thought that was actually quite a good alert, seeing them do a reverse shell. Anyway, I will see you on day 56 of becoming a SOC analyst. Thanks for watching.